Imagine your marriage healthy, thriving, and fun again. Welcome to the Coach Martez and Woodrina Show, the ultimate power couple helping you with understanding love, accepting truth, and changing perspective. Certified professional life and marriage coach Martez Layton and licensed therapist Woodrina Layton are here to help you step up your game when it comes to marriage, relationships, and so much more. With 30 years of marriage under their belt and a proven track record of mending broken bonds, you can rely on Coach Martez and Woodrina to empower you and your loved ones to have a strong connection for life. The Coach Martez and Woodrina Show starts now.
Going on, everybody?
Hello.
Happy Wednesday to you. Hello, how you doing? I'm Coach Martez.
And I'm licensed therapist Woodrina Layton.
And you're listening to the Coach Martez and Woodrina Layton Show, where we're talking about understanding love, accepting truth, and changing your perspective here on Transformation Talk Radio.
Yes.
Stay with us for the next hour as we discuss the 4 C's you need to know when looking for your soulmate or destiny partner. You know how important this is, especially going into the new year in 2022 when they talk about, you know what, I want to be with the right person and I don't want to waste my time. Come on, stay with us.
Exactly. And as we do every week, we're looking forward to having an enjoyable conversation around walking out the journey of love, life, and fulfilling purpose as we share with you practical tips, insights, and perspectives that will help you to improve your relationships, communicate better, walk in forgiveness, and just simply love one another better.
Yeah.
You know, we want to do that.
And that's important. And I know a lot of times, you know, because people have always told us, you know, when you're going to do something for singles, when you're going to talk about something for those who are not married. And so that's one of those things as we're getting ready to go into this new year. You know, I just wanted to just put some things in your spirit, put some things in your ear, put some knowledge in your mind so that as you're going into the new year, just knowing God has desire and he wants you to connect with that person. But sometimes, you know, we do things on our own, whether we'll either take a distraction or end up taking a detour, allow ourselves to be deceived to miss that destiny partner that God wants us to be with. So we want to just talk about 4 C's that you should make sure that you're asking. And for those that may be listening who are married, these are 4 C's you also want to just know before, as far as between you and your spouse.
Right. Make sure that you know those. Yeah, because sometimes married people don't know these.
Right. And also, this is important to know too, why this is so important. I always tell everybody, you have to be willing to accept the fact that in marriage, you know, again, like I tell everybody, Woodrina and I have been together since I was 18 years old. We've been married for over 30 years, but you go through transitions. And so sometimes your convictions or these things we're going to talk about with these 4 C's, they change. And you just want to be aware of what those changes are. So we got a good show in mind.
All right. But before we get started, as we always do, we want to share a fun fact about ourselves.
Okay.
So, you know, I just kind of went back on this one. Now that we're certified, you know, you're a certified life coach and I'm a licensed therapist, you know, through this journey of life, you know, we're here, you know, just because of purpose. But what was it that you've always dreamed of being when you were younger?
Now that's funny. And now that's funny because actually for those who also don't know, I was in the military for 12 years, United States Navy, and I was there in finance and accounting. For old school people, they know about dispersing clerk. And then I also did recruiting. But in high school, I wanted to be an accountant. I mean, I loved accounting. I remember, I think in my yearbook or something, we talked about accounting or something, but I loved accounting. I loved accounting so much that my best friend used to call me a negative name I don't want to say out loud about how much I used to love typing and all of this stuff, you know, because I was really all about administration and loving accounting. So honestly, I wanted to be an accountant.
That's good. That's good. And so for me, you know, growing up, I always wanted to be an OBGYN. I always wanted to be a doctor. And so then I had a guidance counselor that said, yeah, no, in high school, she was like, you're not going to be able to do that. So then I went to nursing. When I first went to school, I started out in nursing. And so that was a journey. So it's like
wasted money.
Yes, it really was, because I had a desire to help people. I really wanted to help people, and I'm still in the helping field, but I wanted to help people, and I just could not pass microbiology. I took that thing like three, 4 times and finally got a D. And I was just like, okay, I just need to give this up. So, I finally just faced the truth and gave it up to the career assessment and realized I needed to be like in the helping field. So I started as a teacher, and now I'm here. So but I always wanted to be an OBGYN.
Right. And that's funny. The reason why I'm laughing, guys, is because really anything around blood and that stuff, Wadrina hates it. So I always joke with her. I'm like, but how could you could have been a nurse? You hate all of this stuff around blood. She hates needles. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm laughing. I'm like, how could you be a nurse or a doctor and you don't even want to get nobody no shot? But anyway, so let's get into this discussion on the 4 C's that you need to know about a person when you're looking for your soulmate or your destiny partner. Yeah. And again, if you go back, there's one of the podcasts that we did talked about destiny partner, to just know a little bit about that. But I just want you to know that God has a desire for you to connect to this person.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so, like we always hear from other people, how did I end up staying in a relationship so long, wasting so much time? Mm-hmm. It's like, is my picker messed up? Like, what's wrong with me? Sometimes people feel like it's just not working. Why haven't I found the person that's for me? So we want to help you out. So we're going to, talk about these 4 C's that you need to know when you're looking for your destiny or your soulmate. Mm-hmm. So the first C is core values. Core values. Mm-hmm. You need to know what that person's core values is, but first you need to know yours. Then you need to, that's something you need to make sure in a partner. Mm-hmm. What are your core values? Because you have to make sure that we are going to align with our core values.
Right. And then, so when we talk about core values, you do want to know, who you are at your core. Yes. And then this is what I want you to remember too. You want to actually just don't allow somebody to say, this is who I am at my core, without you doing some validating and research. Mm-hmm. Remember these key words. When you are looking for your soulmate or your destiny partner, we don't just take data off the table, because data is important. So you want to validate and you want to research. So in other words, if you tell me this is your core, then I just kind of want to just see in what areas of your journey has this kind of shown up in you. Because, like when Wadrina first met me, again, we met at 18. At my core, I was a man who believed and loved God. Now, I may not have been doing the quote unquote, all the right things that a person who has given their life to Christ or believe. I may not have been doing all the right things, but at my core, I was a God man. I believed in God. I believed in tithing. I believed in doing things in prayer. I believed in that. I believed in reading scripture and stuff like that, and meditation. And, that was who I was. You know what I'm saying? But my footprints over my life actually told you this matches my core. Exactly. So what I'm saying is, don't let somebody tell you this is a core value of mine. And then you ask them, well, just tell me a little bit about during your journey. When have you had to operate, or how did that come about? Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's good. And let me just read the definition, for anybody listen. But you really explained it, because core values are the fundamental beliefs of a person that dictates that person's behavior and helps them to understand the difference between right and wrong. So it's basically how we live our life. So it's like you said, I need to know, tell me a little bit about your journey so that I can know, how does your behavior line up with what you're saying your core values are. Right. And, and some examples of core value, like Martez said, he was a man that loved God, a man of faith. So faith, spirituality,
was a big part.
Yeah, family.
Even though I wasn't doing everything right at 18 years old.
But that was at our core, because me too. That was at my core. Faith was there, spirituality was at my core. But
although we would cut up on the weekend, you know what I'm talking about. We would go to church on Sunday.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We wanted to worship, you know.
Yeah. No, that's so true. That's so true. So it's like, but still, it's like, but we communicated that to one another. We understood our core values and they aligned, you know,
and family,
you know, love, commitment,
faith.
Yes, they all align. So some other core values for, you know, could be just a few examples: honesty, positivity, optimism, you know, security. Some people, you know, like, I need security. And then another person's core value could be entrepreneurship. So then it's like, you all have to see, okay, well, you know, how can we line up? Because I can honestly say security and entrepreneurship you know, it's challenging, but you can make it work if you know, if you have a security core value and the other person has an entrepreneurship. Because with entrepreneurship, a lot of times, you know, it's a lot of uncertainty in entrepreneurship.
And again, that may be at your core, because I think about my kids, you know, when they were small, we actually owned the full service dry cleaners. So they saw me in business. So for my children to have a desire to be in business, that would be at their core. And then when you talk about core values that's important to a relationship, you talk about communication, you talk about commitment, you talk about these things also with respect, forgiveness, and empathy in a relationship. Because, you know, as a core value, you just ask a person, you know, if you don't hear anything about forgiveness or empathy, you may want to just find out. Because honestly, over my journey and actually working with couples over the years, it's some people have a really hard time with forgiveness.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so then, you know, it's like, no, one of my principles is one of the things I hold on to. You mess up one time, you will never get another chance with me. Well, you need to know that when you're meeting that person, because at their core, that's something they're going to stand by and firmly hold on to. So again, when you're looking for your destiny partner, it's important to know, because again, we're talking about destiny. So with destiny, there's a destination that you're on that you want to achieve. And so then you have to just understand what type of values are important to me to be on this journey with you. You know, whether it's vision, whether it's the communication, the trust, you know what I'm saying, at your core. And so when somebody tells you this again, you know, tell me, when has your family had to really trust you? When was something in your life where trust became one of those areas and you shown I can be trusted? So I'm just saying, again, these core values, you want to know that about that person. And you want to be able to pretty much ask the people who are very influential in their lives, this is what you do. And look, I'm giving y'all some tips. I'm telling you, when a person tells you their core values and the time comes that you meet a person who is influential to them, just be like, you know, I was just wondering, what, you know, what would you say is so-and-so's core values at their core? Who are they? Because the people who mean the most to you, they should pretty much be able to say, that is who they are. Just giving y'all some tips now.
Yes, exactly. And then you want to make sure too that, you know, you can be authentic, you know, because in a relationship, that's an important core value, just being authentic and being your true self. You know, like I always say, you have to make sure that you're being true to yourself. And also, how do you resolve conflict? What does you know,
what does conflict look like to you?
What does conflict management look like to you? You know, because I don't want you to stop speaking to me for 3 days.
Exactly. That's real. I'm just telling y'all, this stuff is real.
Mad with me. But you know, we need to go to a quick break. But you have been listening to the Coach Martez and Wadrina Layton show. And when we come back, we're going to continue our discussion on the 4 C's that you need to know about a person when you're looking for your soulmate or destiny
partner. On Transformation Talk Radio.
Stay tuned.
Let's go.
We are back. Welcome back to the Coach Martez and Wadrina Layton show. We have been discussing the 4 C's that you need to know when you're looking for your soulmate or destiny partner, because we want to make sure in 2022, if you're not married, you finding that right person and that right person that God has for you. So before the break, we were discussing core values. You need to know the first C is core values. You need to know what that person's core values are. And Coach Martez wanted to bring out a point that we forgot to mention on before we went to break.
No, I just wanted to bring this back out because, see, again, the reason why it's so important to know that core values is because a person doesn't change from their core. So you want to know this. You know what I'm saying? So because people don't change from their core, and you don't want to ignore that. You know what I'm saying? So whatever that core is, you want to know, and you don't want to ignore it. But again, you want to validate it. Don't just let a person tell you, oh man, at my core, I'm a person that just really believes in saving, for example. And then all of a sudden you end up thinking, when you looking to start playing a wedding, it's like, well, man, at your core, it's been saving, and you ain't been married for 10 years. So I just knew you to save us some money. And then all of a sudden you find out, hold on, you ain't got no money. You're saying, I'm just telling you stuff I've heard over the years. So I'm just saying, when a person tells you their core, just remember, validate and research it. Don't just accept it for what they're saying to you. Put some validation and research in it, but just remember that core is vitally important.
So the next,
and trust them when they tell you.
Exactly. And the next C that we want to discuss is conviction.
Yes.
You know, what are their convictions? Convictions are a firmly held belief or opinion.
Yes.
So that's something that you will want to make sure you know, because it's kind of like what you said earlier when how somebody said, I'm only that one thing and I'm not going to forgive you because whatever that conviction, some people have convictions that if you cheat on me, it's over. So it's like, you need to know, like, what are their convictions?
Right. And, and you just want to kind of ask. And I will tell you, sometimes people have never been asked this question. That's why if you are looking for that destiny partner and you've been going through the dating scene, and so I'll just tell you, kind of like I tell my daughter, you want to know these pretty much in like that first 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to give nobody that much time in your life and you don't know these 4 C's. You know what I'm saying? So on the first date, I may ask you one. On the next That following week, I'm probably ask you the second one. But this ain't something you want. You don't want to be with a person for 6 months and then you come talking about, you know what, we're interested in. I'm just trying to find out if this works or not. And then I ask you, what are their core values? I ask you, what are their convictions? And you like, or then I'm asking you, did you validate it? Did you? Because then the person is like, that's not my core. But then they say, we never had this conversation. So I'm just saying, again, with these convictions, you want to ask, well, just tell me, what are some of your convictions? And how is that expressed?
Exactly. Because another thing, some people's convictions, can be, I want my parents to live with me when they get older. So that's something that we need to discuss, because I need to know that that's your conviction, that that's something that you firmly stand on, that no, I've always said I want my parents to live with me, once they get a certain age. So then that other person has to be able to know if, whether or not they're going to be able to accept that or not.
Right.
So that's why it's important to discuss that.
Exactly. You want to know about these convictions because, again, just imagine in a relationship, a person has a conviction that says, no, I believe the husband and the wife should always work. You don't never come off no job. That's the only way we can provide security. But then you grew up in a home like our kids where, I told Wadrina when they was very young, before we put them in a daycare center or something like that, we both was like, no, she's going to stay at home. So just imagine if I had that conviction, no, we both got to work, and within yourself, no, I don't know. I know for a fact I'm going to probably want to stay home the first year, the first 2 years with my kids before they go to a daycare or go to someone else's house. See, you need to ask a person about their convictions because their convictions is what they strongly believe. My wife always supposed to iron my shirt. I know that could be old school now, because my own daughter, she don't know how to iron, but I will say though, that could be a lot for me. She grew up with a dad with a dry cleaners, so they never had to press clothes when they were young. But I'm just saying, some people's conviction. I'm giving you all real life, real life situations.
Yeah.
Some people can have a conviction. If I'm married to you, you always supposed to cook and you always supposed to do the laundry.
Mhm.
And it's just like, no, I can't just say that's something I'm gonna commit
Right.
to. I don't know what may have to happen. You better
Mhm.
stop at Whole Foods. All I'm just telling you all is, again, people know what their convictions
Mhm.
are. But when we're looking for the right person, don't avoid asking this question.
Yeah.
You want to ask them because, first of all, if you don't know what you firmly believe, then I really have to ask myself, then who am I getting in a relationship with?
Exactly. No, that is true.
Yeah.
This has to be discussed. And then what you have to do is you have to know what your convictions are, stand firmly on your own convictions.
Yes.
So then, in that way, set boundaries so that way you won't waver on your convictions, whatever
Right.
your convictions may be. Because I can even
Wow,
say,
that is
even
true.
when dating,
Mhm.
when dating, you can have a conviction that, okay, I'm not going to have sex while I'm dating.
Exactly.
And so that's something you would need, that other person needs to know up front, because if you they need to know this. This is something that has to be discussed. And then you have to set boundaries with yourself and just really hold yourself accountable, by setting boundaries to stand firm on your convictions.
Right.
Because basically, most of the time, convictions are something that you stand on and hold firmly, and people normally can't waver you from your convictions, but sometimes you can be wavered from your convictions. So if it's something where you may feel like you may waver some, you want to set boundaries if it's something that you really firmly believe and want to abide by.
And you want to be, because one of the things I always tell people, you want to be careful when crossing convictions, because you don't want to have it where all of a sudden where I thought this was going to be okay. And then the more you're in a relationship, you realize it's not okay, primarily because when a person crosses a conviction, eventually they're going to come back into alignment with what they firmly believe.
That is so true.
Unless their belief was based off of something that they was just taught or passed down, but it really wasn't something that was logical, or it really wasn't something that was just, that really is foundational truth.
Yeah.
Then that's when a person can change. Like we know some people, you think about racism and stuff like that. Some people were taught that. Racism is something you were taught. So if you've been conditioned and that's one of your convictions that you feel or whatever about different races, then you understand, you may get knowledge, you may get understanding and realize that's something I need to change. But I'm just saying some convictions people firmly, strongly believe in, and they're not going to change that. Again, you want to have a conversation about that.
Because if you do give in to it, like, if you waver and give in to it and cross your conviction line, you're going to end up unhappy.
Right. You're going to be unhappy because you are constantly going to be trying to find your way back to a conviction.
Yeah.
Because again, that's your conviction.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's why we say, again, this is very important. And don't, like I tell so many people, don't lower your bar.
Yeah.
It's not okay. It's not okay to lower your bar. It's not okay to accept, I'm telling you, you're going to be unhappy. And then when you're trying to find your destiny partner, that goes into one of those things where I talked about, you don't want to be distracted, you don't want to be deceived, and you don't want to take a detour. But when you go to lowering your convictions and accepting things that you really don't believe, or doing things that you may not agree with, but you accept that because you think that's what love does, then you find out now you done took a detour. Now you done got distracted. And then it's like, oh God, why come you won't send me the right person? Why come he keep doing this? It's not because of God, it's because of you. You are being distracted, you are being deceived, and you are taking detours because your convictions should be, you want to draw someone who's attracted to your conviction.
Yeah, and that's so true. It's just like you said, when you're asking those questions, it's like, Lord, what happened? Why am I going through like this? Go back and just center yourself and just think about your core values and your convictions. And am I living by my own core values and my
Yes.
convictions? Or because if not, then that's where the problem is.
That's
If-
exactly
you
where
know,
the problem
it's
is.
like you have to go back and just ask yourself that question. You know, if you find yourself in a situation where it's like, I just don't know what's going on.
Right.
Like, so you go back and center yourself. Because
Mhm.
yeah, it's like we say, make sure you're asking this person, but you have to make sure you're centered and you're in the right place first before
Right.
you can even, you know, get to asking
No,
them.
that's a great
You
point.
know, you
So-
do need to ask them, but you need to be centered in your own core values and convictions first.
No, that's a great point. So
Mhm.
actually, you know, while you're listening to this, you know, again, go back and just ask yourself, when I think about the top 3
Mhm.
core values, write down what do you believe your
Mhm.
core values are. Then write down what are your top 3 convictions.
Mhm.
And then what do? Take 3 people who you consider to be influential in your life,
Mhm.
who know you well, and ask them, ask all 3,
Mhm.
what would you say from knowing me over the years are my core values?
Yeah.
And what convictions would you say I have? That way, you know what you've written down is also the way the people who are close to you actually perceive you and
Yeah.
how they see you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's good right there. That's really
You
good.
got to identify with you.
Yeah, you do. You have to make
Mhm.
sure that's true, because then that way you'll make sure you're not crossing them boundaries.
Exactly.
So, you know, we have been talking about 4 C's
Mhm.
that you want to know about a person and yourself.
Exactly.
You know, when you're looking for your soulmate or destiny partner. We've discussed core values, we've discussed convictions. So we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to share with you the two other C's that you need to know. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We are back on the Coach Martez and Wadrina Layton show. We have been discussing the 4 C's you need to know about a person when you're looking for your soulmate or your destiny partner. But before we continue, we want to make sure everyone knows how to connect with us there on social media. If you would like to work with myself or Wadrina, again, like we say, not only do we talk about this, but this is what we live. I'm a certified professional life and marriage coach. Wadrina is a licensed therapist. So we do offer individual and couples coaching and counseling sessions. So if you would like to work with us, please visit our website at dreambuilderscoaching.net. And on Facebook, it will be Dream Builders Marriage Coaching and Counseling. On Instagram, you can connect with us at Coach Martez and Wadrina Layton. On Twitter, it's Coach Martez and Wadrina L.
All right.
But we would love to connect with you.
Exactly. So we have been discussing the 4 C's for that you need to know when you're looking for trying to connect with your destiny partner or soulmate. We talked about core values, convictions. The 3rd C is compassion and change.
The ability to change.
Yes, compassion and the ability to change. So, you know, we need to be able to be, you know, you need to know if that person can be compassionate, you know, in your relationship. And what that means is, you know, you're able to recognize, you know, when your partner is suffering in some way and you're able to be loving and kind to them as they go through the process.
Right. And see, and now you may, and this is something because I've had to learn over the years how to become a little bit more compassionate, because again, you know, when you're talking about at a core. So at a core, that's something that's been a part of your life for years. So that means you probably saw somebody actually showing compassion in your family, whether it was a parent or grandparent, or if you were with an auntie or an uncle, you've seen compassion. So again, when we talk about the way you validate, then ask, you know, where or what point in your life, you know, can you tell me about when you had to show compassion? You know what I'm saying? Because again, some people find it hard to show compassion. Their words may be like, no, they deserve that. You did this, then you're just gonna do this. And so as you're listening to this, you want to be able to hear, there's no compassion. Because again, if you haven't shown compassion in different areas or had a time in your life where you've had to show someone compassion, then you really want to ask yourself, well, how do I know they're going to be compassionate towards me?
And then you can ask them, you know, what are some things that you are compassionate about?
Exactly.
You know, so
that's a great question.
because then then you can see, you know, in their heart, where are they, you know, because some things should really touch you. And it's like, yep, you know, I'm really compassionate about children and just really wanting to help children and, you know, and make sure that, you know, I help them to achieve their goals and, you know,
single mothers.
Yeah.
Whatever
you're compassionate about.
And no, and again, like we're saying, because we're talking about soulmate or destiny partner. So if you know you have a heart for the homeless, you have a heart for veterans, you have a heart for single mothers or special needs kids or just children that may be unfortunate than others. If you know that's something you're compassionate about, then you really got to see with this person, what is their area of compassion, because all of a sudden you all are dating and you are wanting to do things to show compassion in those areas. But it's like, well, no, you know what? I can't do it today, but you do it. You know what? This can't do it, but you know what? I give you this to do. So you find that in actuality, we begin to start separating emotionally, because honestly, where passion lies, compassion lies, and where compassion and passion lies, then that's where purpose is. So that's what I'm saying. So basically what I'm saying is, whatever area you are passionate about, that's also an area you're going to have compassion.
That's so true.
And so then when you have compassion and you have passion, you can pretty much know purpose is right in that circle. So then if that's what you're passionate and purpose and compassionate about, and the other person is not, you have to know, okay, I need to, we need to keep it moving. Don't waste time. Don't be in this relationship for 2 years. Because you're never going to be happy.
Don't just try to, we'll make it work.
And then the other person is going to be unhappy, because in actuality, they're going to get frustrated. Why you want to do that all the time? Why you always want to do this? Or why you always want to do that? Or don't you think you did enough? I think you've done enough. So I'm just saying, this is why knowing and understanding a person's level of compassion is very important.
Yeah, it really is. And so, and then in a way to be able to assess if they are a compassionate person or not, it's like, you know, assessing their ability to be able to put themselves in other people's shoes. You know, if they're able to put themselves in your shoes, you know, if you all, you know, have a disagreement or something, are they able to just see it from your point of view?
Exactly.
You know, because that shows compassion. If I'm able to put it, you know, see it from your point of view and put myself in your shoes.
Right. And, you know, and then what I'm saying is, make this a real exercise. You know, because one of the things that really hurts me, you know, about the couples and, you know, when they get hurt, or, you know, you're thinking we're about to do something or get married, and then you start seeing the true side of a person. I just be wondering, what made you wait so long? And so that's why we're giving this, as you're going into this new year, you know, you want to ask this stuff up front, because you don't want to be with a person where you've invested your heart and invested your life with this person, come and find out, man, you really don't care about people. You really don't care about this.
Yeah,
you know, and that hurts.
Yeah, you just self-centered and all about yourself. And it's like, we have to find that out up front. And then you also want to find out if that person has the ability to change. You know, can they be flexible? You know, so then it's like you want to ask them, well, tell me about a time in your life where you had to make an adjustment, you know, or had to be flexible, because a lot of times, you know, people are like, this is me, you just got to live with it. And I do understand, like, when it comes to core values and convictions, yes, that is you. But when it comes to showing compassion in other areas of your relationship, like, you got to make some changes. It's like, you know, you have to grow.
And you got to be willing to accept them changes. So then also another powerful question would be to ask, how did that change affect you? What was your thoughts around that change? Because again, you know, sometimes people may change, but when they change, they got bitter. They didn't get better. And so you really just want to ask those questions, because you really want to know, if I'm going to build a life with you, I really want to know, you know, what is your ability to change? Because sometimes we may have to adjust. In a relationship, we may have to adjust. Think about this, guys. How many people had to adjust during COVID? And I can promise you, the people that had the most problems during COVID, that was in relationships, which we've had a lot of time to talk with a lot of couples, somebody was not able to adjust. That change was causing friction, was causing frustration, was creating more stress, because having to change was difficult. And that's what COVID has done to a lot of us. It's like you have to be able to adjust. You have to be able to change and even have compassion, because now guess what? I don't have all this time I used to have. I may not could do all what I used to do, but now I need you to understand, you know, my job has changed. This has changed. Can you show me some compassion? But in actuality, if you'd have been asking these questions, because I promise you, compassion can't hide. Let me just say this right now. A person cannot hide compassion. All you have to do is ask the right questions. And I promise you, they're going to answer you from who they are, because you can't hide compassion. You hear it, you feel it, and you connect to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and if you're a person that needs to develop compassion, you know, or, you know, just start thinking before you speak, you know, focus on not being self-centered, and then start appreciating the little things, you know, because that can help you to be more compassionate. And then as far as change, that's just, you just got to be willing. You just have to be able to accept it. Because that a lot of times people just don't want to accept change. But if you
change is good, because change signifies growth. Change also requires acceptance. You know what I'm saying? And we just have to understand, you know, just a joke for y'all who don't know, honestly, I'm not lying. I promise you ain't lying. What Drina's right here should tell you. When she first met me, I had wavy hair, very wavy hair. I could literally take a shower, my hair would wave up, curl up. I had good hair. The men in my family all have wavy good hair. Well, y'all, I lost this hair at 22 years old. I had a friend who put a pluck in my head right here while I was in the military, had to shave off all my head, and I've been wearing the Michael Jordan since 22. Because back then, Michael made bald heads cool. But what I'm just saying, that was something what Drina had to accept. She had to adjust that. You know what? If I loved all that hair and I love putting my hands on them waves, and now all of a sudden, all I got is a bald head.
I know you have to be willing to adjust and know that, you know, I have to change. We go through transition. So that's something you want to find out from that person before you before you get into a committed relationship. You know, are you willing to adjust? Because we have been, for over 30 years, we have been through many transitions.
So true.
And if we weren't able,
we'll talk to some over here.
And if we hadn't been able to change and adjust, it would have been over. Because we wouldn't have made it, because it's been so many adjustments that we've had to make. But you know that thing that we always say that keep us grounded, our core convictions and our values, our core values and convictions. It's like, because they are aligned. They align. So it's like, so, you know, when you have those two aligned, then you're going to have you're going to have the ability to change, you know, and show compassion to one another, because we lining up with our core values and convictions. That's huge. You know, that's really major in a relationship.
And, you know, and again, like we say, that's one of the ways, again, we're talking about destiny partner. And so when you're with your destiny partner, just because there's a change or something happens, that's not somewhere now it's like, oh, it's time for me to exit. No, because you don't exit destiny. You don't exit when you're on the journey of your destination, because the exit is your destination. You know what I'm saying? So when you are trying to stay the course and you're trying to complete what you believe, you have to understand there's going to be different things that may come our way. But actually taking a detour or taking an exit off of the destiny path, that's not an option. That's not acceptable. That's not an option. So that's why we're saying you want to know this up front. And again, what's the two key words? Validate and research. Just because you say it, I hear it, but just understand, I'm going to validate it and I'm going to put some research in. So again, this is the Coach Martez and with Drina Layton show. We're going on our last quick break. And when we return, we will continue our discussion on the 4 C's you need to know about a person that you're looking for as being your soulmate or destiny partner. Stay tuned and we'll be back on Transformation Talk Radio.
We are back. Welcome back to the Coach Martez and Wadrina Layton show. Today we have been discussing the 4 C's that you need to know about a person when looking for your soulmate or destiny partner. So far we've talked about core values. You need to know what are their core values, their convictions, their compassion and ability to change. And now we're going to discuss the 4th C, which is commitment.
Right.
What are some of their commitments in life? So I'm just going to read to you a definition of what commitment is. Commitment is a promise to do or give something, a promise to be loyal to someone or something, the attitude of someone who works very hard to do or support something, an agreement or pledge to do something in the future. So you want to know with that person, what are some of your commitments in life?
Right. And so again, when you think about commitments, you also want to think about who are some of the people you are committed to, because that's very important, because you want to know that. You want to know what are some of the people you're committed to? What are some of the things you are committed to? You know what I'm saying? And then, so what are some commitments you may not want to make? So again, it is important to know, if you just think, and I know you may say, because now a lot of times, which has become like the new norm, a lot of people are waiting a little bit longer to get married. Like if we go back, I think Wadrina's grandmother had got married when she was like 13 years old.
15. They were young back then.
We got married when I was 20 years old. Back in the day, you would get married young. Now it's, people are kind of completing their college, starting to do some of their career. So really, when you're around that 27, 28 years old, you start kind of knowing what are some of your commitments. What are some of the things you are committed to? Who are some of the people you are committed to? What are some of the, what are some of the ideas that you have a commitment to? And so that's what we're just saying. You want to ask that question, and you want to see, how we align in our commitments. And is that something I'm willing to commit to? Because just imagine if I told you, one of the things that I do is I'm committed to always going back to so-and-so to do a mission trip every year, and I do that for 45 days. You got to really ask yourself, if you don't have a desire to be on the mission field, is that something that I'm willing to do every year of my life? I'm just saying,
that's true.
People have different commitments.
That is so true.
And I just use that as an example, but I'm just saying, you want to know what a person's commitments are, and how does that relate to you?
Exactly. And so I just want to 5 ways you can communicate your commitment to your spouse or a long-term partner. So in a relationship, the way you communicate commitment is you show love and loyalty. You express respect and appreciation. You convey honesty and trust. And you work as a team and compromise. And you also disagree agreeably.
That's a big one, right?
Disagreeing agreeably.
So that's a big one right there. When you're talking about commitment and like our commitment to handle arguments, our commitment to handle disagreements, our commitments to handle our trust and our love and our loyalty. You want to talk about this up front. It really is, because a lot of times, because we never have, it's like I always tell couples, what is the reason we hold the hard stuff to later on in a relationship? No. What you really want to do, you want to ask the tough questions up front. You want to ask the hard stuff up front. And now let's see, how do we handle this now? Instead of saying, well, no, I'll probably wait and we'll talk about that, or we'll deal with that down the road. Down the road, it only gets worse. So again, we're talking about this. You want to answer these, you want to ask these tough questions in the beginning.
That's right. Because we want to make sure that, that you're interested in being in a committed relationship. As well. So not only, when we're talking about what are some of your commitments in life, do you want to be in a committed relationship? What does that look like? That's a big word. I know
that's a whole separate show about all the different types of relationship
commitments, because it's so many. So what does a committed relationship look like to you? You know, so that is something that you do want to make sure that you discuss, because some people don't want to get married. They just want to be, you know, longtime partners.
Right.
So you just want to know, you know, it's like Coach Martez said, you want to ask the difficult questions up front. You know, because
don't waste your time.
Yeah, you don't want to be in a relationship with somebody for 2 years and then you find out, oh, this person said they never want to be married. They just want to be in a relationship.
I never said, you never asked me that. If you would have asked me, I'd have told you. And this is what I tell people. Remember, you don't want to be in a relationship with someone that you find out either you've been deceived or you've been distracted. And while you're sitting there at that restaurant with this person that you've invested your time, invested your energy in, they are the distraction or they are the deception, and your destiny partner is walking past you. You don't want to do that. So what I really encourage all the individuals that I work with is actually telling them, look, we don't want to waste time. Your time is valuable. You want to ask these questions. You want to know this thing so you can keep it moving.
Yeah, definitely. Real. It's like, especially within the first 90 days.
Oh no, you got to know.
We need to know all of these questions. We need to know. I need to know your core values. I need to know your convictions.
Yes.
I need to know if you're compassionate and have the ability to change.
And I need to know your commitment.
Exactly.
Oh no, these first 90 days.
I need to know that.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like you said, I don't want to miss my destiny partner because I'm sitting up here wasting time with you.
Right.
You know, I want to connect with the person that God has for me so that I can walk, have true love and be, you know, all lovey-dovey like everybody, all these other people I see that I want, you know, because people see that and say, I want that.
Exactly. So I just want to tell you, if you really want to know, so Coach, what would you say is too long to be with a person? I'm going to tell you like this. I do not believe anybody should be with a person over 90 days if they're not going to be in your life 3 years from now. Do not give them that much of your life if they're not going to be in your future. Don't waste time. That's what I believe. But anyway.
Yeah. So, you know, so we have been talking about these 4 C's. So, you know, we just want to make sure that you apply them and make sure that you ask yourself, like I said earlier, make sure you know what your own core values and convictions and commitments and compassion and your own ability to change before you go to asking that other person. But it's something that's very important that you need to know in a relationship.
Exactly.
And so we want to always make sure we remind you guys about the 5th annual Married for Life Walk. It'll be in Atlanta, Georgia, April 22nd and 23rd. You can go to married4lifewalk.com to find out more. And it's Married for Life Walk on Instagram and Facebook, and M4LW. Well, M4L Walk on Twitter. So we want to make sure that you connect with us and attend that. That's for if you're married, engaged and seriously dating.
Don't bring a girlfriend. You know, I ain't sure if she's gonna be with me next.
Exactly. When we say seriously dating, you already know the answers to the 4 C's.
You know them 4 C's.
You know those 4 C's about yourself and the person, and y'all on the right track. Y'all, you know, y'all working towards that. So we just want to remind you guys that you can connect with us. Dream Builders Coaching and Counseling on Facebook, and dreambuilderscoaching.net is our website. And so remember now, all happy marriages don't happen by choice. By chance, they happen by choice. So that's even with happy relationships. So you want to be honest with yourself and be willing to be held accountable to the things that your partner may say to you without giving them back judgment or pushback, and make a commitment to accept change without conflict.
Love it, love it, love it. So again, Wadrina and I want to really thank you for tuning in today to the Coach Martez and Wadrina Layton show. We definitely hope we said something to encourage you, inspire you, or something you can share. Please join us every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Central, and 12 p.m. Pacific. We love to hear from you. Be sure to connect with us. We would love to connect with you on social media, and we look forward to hearing more of your comments. Again, have a wonderful week. Happy holidays. We know we're getting ready for Christmas and going into 2022. But again, thank you so much for joining us right here on Transformation Talk Radio.
Have a great week.
Let's go.
Thank you for tuning in to the Coach Martez and Wadrina Show on Transformation Talk Radio with certified professional life and marriage coach Martez Layton and licensed therapist Wadrina Layton. Understanding love, accepting truth, and changing perspective. Coach Martez and Widrina Layton have been working with OWL-bound couples to strengthen their relationships for the betterment of their lives for 20 years, and it is in their divine role in life to do so. For more information or to schedule an appointment with Coach Martez and Widrina, go to dreambuilderscoaching.net. That is dreambuilderscoaching.net.